morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Palo Alto, where we come to transform ourselves, each other, and the world. My name is Mark Williams, a member of this church for 12 years. We begin our time together by greeting each other, so feel free to turn on your audio and we'll say hello to each other and you can hug yourself.
Not all the way, just
Hi, everybody.
Turn that off and come.
Good to see you.
Hey, everyone.
Can you turn the volume?
Morning, everyone.
That's what you do.
Diane.
What do you do?
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Good morning. It's not such a big deal.
Right. This is wonderful to hear everybody's voices. And thank you for saying hi and thank you for being here with us.
Diane. Hi, Joe. And I guess Kent and Marion are probably both there.
Yes, we're here.
We're here.
Hi, Dan.
It is a beautiful Sunday.
Peter.
And now, let us begin our service.
We light our chalice in honor of all of those who have served in our ministry. May the chalice be to us a symbol of the sharing of faith and hope which they have brought. May the flame remind us of the giving of their lives and love upon the altar of service and truth. For our centering words each week, we share from the many sources of our living tradition. Today's words are the poem Ministry is All That We Do Together by Gordon B. McKeeman. Ministry is that quality of being in community that affirms human dignity, beckons forth hidden possibilities, invites us into deeper, more constant, reverend relationships, and carries forward our heritage of hope and liberation. Ministry is what we do together as we celebrate triumphs of our human spirit, miracles of birth and life, wonders of devotion and sacrifice. Ministry is what we do together with one another in terror and torment, in grief and misery and pain, enabling us in the presence of death to say yes to life. We who minister speak and live the best we know with full knowledge that is never quite enough, and yet are reassured by lostness found, fragments reunited, wounds healed, and joys shared. Ministry is what we all do together. As we follow the bell into silence, become centered with this place, with these people, and with your mountain of truth. Bruce will now lead us in singing the first two verses of hymn number 347, Gather the Spirit. The words are in the order of service.
Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
Well, Ishmael, it's been a long walk, but we made it to Jerusalem. Everyone who's Jewish like us should visit Jerusalem at least once. Won't it be amazing to see the great temple?
I still can't believe you talked me into going to Jerusalem to join the followers of Jesus. I still can't believe you talked me into selling everything I own and giving it to the poor.
Well, you kept talking about Jesus all the time, so I figured you'd want to go with me. Besides, your business wasn't doing very well anyway. There's the person who's supposed to meet us.
Are you Barnabas and Ishmael?
Yes, that's us.
Good, you're the people I'm supposed to meet. I'm Tekla, one of the leaders of the people who follow the teachings of Jesus.
Wait a minute, but you're a woman. How can a woman be a leader?
We who follow the teachings of Jesus treat everyone the way we ourselves would like to be treated. So of course, some of our leaders are women.
Thank you for meeting us, Tekla. Don't mind Ishmael. He's actually very enthusiastic about Jesus.
It's true. Jesus was amazing. He walked on water. He was raised from the dead. And they say he was the Son of God.
Don't say that where the Romans can hear you. The Romans say that the emperor is the Son of God. If they hear you saying that Jesus was the Son of God, they'll think we're starting a rebellion, and we could get into big trouble.
But they say...
Ishmael, shh! It's okay, Tekla. I'll make sure he's more careful about what he says.
Good. The Romans don't like the fact that we're feeding the hungry and helping the poor. They say we're attacking the Roman way of life. It's dangerous being one of the followers of Jesus. But here, let me take you to the house where you'll be staying.
Wait a minute. Dangerous? What have I gotten myself into? Hey, Barnabas and Tekla, wait for me!
Will Barnabas and Ishmael find in Jerusalem? How dangerous could it be to feed the hungry? Tune in next week and find out.
Good morning. My name is Maricia Scott, and I have been attending UUCPA for 9 years. Our mission as a church is to transform ourselves, each other, and the world. Have you ever stopped to think about how the ministry you perform and receive transforms you? A few of us may just be here for the now virtual hot chocolate, but I expect many of us are here because by being here, we are indeed transforming ourselves. Slowly, bit by bit, we become fuller versions of who we were when we started. I think it is pretty easy to see a direct line between receiving ministry and personal transformation. I get a lot out of Amy's sermons, and they often make me see the world in a new way. Even when I'm teaching Sunday school, I listen to the sermons later online. If you didn't know, you can get access to them from the website. Joining UUCPA has also inspired me to learn about different religions, and I have read books on Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism. While I admit I started off reading these books partly to help me fall asleep at night. I am surprised by how much I have learned from them. I have also grown in my activism through listening to and being inspired by so many people here who do wonderful work in the community. These are just some of the gifts I received from the people throughout the congregation who minister at UUCPA. These gifts have changed me into a more whole human being. Listening to sermons, gathering with others, learning about my community, these have helped me grow and are the things that I take as part of UUCPA. But what about the ministry I perform? Sometimes it is easy to think of volunteering work as, well, just work. My way of giving back for what I receive. Everyone should do their part, right? And yet, my volunteering has changed me too, in ways both big and small. There are the small ways, like the connections I make with a diverse group of people, like the Committee on Ministry. I don't know if I would have gotten to know Brian or Olivia otherwise. But there are also the big ways. 10 years ago, you had told me I would be teaching about God, Hinduism, and Buddhism to a bunch of 6-year-olds. I would have laughed. Talk about self-transformation. Kids aren't my forte, but because of Sunday school, I am now much better at talking with and learning from children. So the next time you volunteer for something at church, take a moment and pause. Think about not just how you are helping and transforming others, but that by putting something of yourself into this place, how you are transforming yourself as well. Thank you.
And now we turn to our time of offering, because as inheritors of the free church tradition, we accept no money from any governmental body, nor from ecclesiastical authorities, so that we may be free to govern ourselves. Our freely given contributions empower our freedom to search for the truth and act upon what we discover as we see fit. If you wish to give to UUCPA today, you can do so now by following the link in your order of service. It also appears in the chat. Please make sure to use the notes section that will appear as you go through the giving, either by credit card or PayPal, to specify whether this is for the collection or whether you're making a pledge payment to complete your pledge on the present fiscal year that closes this week. And please, if you're visiting us for the first time, you are our guest. Please accept the ministry of this congregation and the beautiful music and feel no need to make an offering.
I'm at Haertel. My husband Drew and I started attending services here just a few years ago. I'm not sure what all I was looking for, but I was feeling sort of isolated since my retirement. And so connection and community were a big part of what I hoped to find. Drew was glad to come along, but I think I took the lead. I certainly wasn't thinking back then about words like ministry or transformation. At the beginning, there were a few weeks of hanging around awkwardly without much socializing, 1 or 2 second Sunday lunches where Drew and I just talked to one another. But before too long, connections began to happen. We got to know some of the regulars at the 11 a.m. service. I joined the Saturday morning meditation group, a chalice circle, by your side singers. Drew and I both joined the Friends of Poetry group, as well as an ad hoc group trying to understand Trump voters. I agreed to serve on the Committee on Ministry, and then, somewhere along the line, I noticed that ministry and transformation had begun to happen. We learn by watching, listening, imitating, by following one another's examples. In these ways, I learned that being a member of this congregation means listening and caring, noticing and respecting differences in background, experiences, values, views, and beliefs. I began doing more here in the church because I saw how much others were doing. I learned about a rich banquet of opportunities to get involved and to serve, which I've only begun to sample. It seems that here at church, ministry and transformation are inseparable from connection and community. When Drew and I agreed to serve on an LGBTQ panel for OWL, the experience enriches our lives, strengthens our connections with others in the congregation, and also contributes in some small way to our collective ministry to one another. Much the same could be said of sharing readings in the Saturday morning meditation group, rehearsals and visits with by-your-side singers, or even friendly conversations at second Sunday lunches. We connect, we build community, we share our joys and concerns, we help and support one another, we teach one another, we learn from one another. One essential ingredient in all this is a sense of safety. This is a place where I can trust that I will be accepted, where mutual kindness and respect are the norm. Along with lighting a chalice, just about every small group gathering here seems to involve a quick check-in by each participant. For me, these simple rituals affirm our shared ministry to one another. Another essential ingredient is a remarkable church staff under Reverend Amy's leadership. She holds the space and sets the example. On our church website, there's a covenant of shared ministry. It says that as a congregation, we pledge to work with our professional ministers, to care for each other in times of need and to celebrate each other's joys, to teach and learn with our professional ministers, remembering that we are all learning all the time. We are called to struggle for justice and to act with compassion, to be true to ourselves and to the beloved community we are creating together. So may it be.
everyone. My name is Olivia Ramberg-Gomez, and I've been coming to UUCPA for a little over 18 years now. As individuals in the world and as members of the church, we have the power to transform the world with our actions. Something as little as sitting down for coffee with someone who needs support, to something as big as organizing a fundraiser to help a community after a natural disaster, can all benefit the world, even though it may not seem like it. Attending church services and taking part in events may seem like things we do for ourselves and others. Although they can actually help us transform the greater world. Here at church, we always hear the phrase, transforming ourselves, each other, and the world. I think that transformation begins with ourselves before it can reach others and the greater world. We must learn what we are good at, what we can contribute to others, and how our talents and strengths can reach more people. I have been coming to church for almost my whole life. As I got older and was no longer enrolled in religious education, I came less and less to Sunday services, only coming to church on some Sunday evening for the senior high youth group meetings. For the last few years, that has been my main connection to church, and a good one, if I may add. Through SHIG, I've gotten countless opportunities to help those in need through the Haertel and Heart and Home organizations. I remember one evening that we cooked dinner. I sat down with a woman and spoke with her for a while about her life and her experiences. After that evening, I noticed that I felt different. I'm normally not the type of person to be the first to talk to someone or introduce myself. But after that conversation, I realized that if I never reach out to others, I can never learn their stories. I think that there is more incentive to do things when we know we are directly benefited or we see the results right away. The truth is, we do not always see the results of our actions right away or even at all. By being a part of UUCPA, I have learned that all my actions and those of others trigger a chain reaction. Though we may do something thinking it will end there, it can take a ripple effect and spread, like cooking dinner for Haertel Inc. Yes, you're providing a meal, but not just that. The meal provides nutrition, possibly the only food someone has gotten all day. The shelter allows them to rest and gain energy to go out the next day and search for jobs. And the company that we give them gives them the human connection they may be lacking in their lives. That is just one way our small actions can lead to bigger things. What I mean is, even the smallest of actions can result in change. You do not need to be famous or significantly successful in order to transform the world. The world can always use a bit more goodness and love, and all of us are capable of sharing that with others, who can then share with more people. The ripple goes on.
Hi all, I'm Brian Weller. I've been a member here for 5 years. You're hearing Olivia and Maricia and Mark and Ed eloquently describing the ministry that's thriving among us. Ordained ministry is a singular type of ministry throughout many religions. 20 years ago, April 30th, there was an ordination at a Unitarian church in Middlebury, Vermont. After graduating from Wesleyan University, getting a master's in fine arts and religion at Syracuse, where she tells me she first became aware of Unitarian Universalism, Amy Zucker graduated from the Harvard Divinity School. There were countless and deeply thoughtful reasons for her pursuing a Master's of Divinity, some triggered when she was 12 years old. One way Amy described her impetus toward the ministry was to aim toward a healing profession. There are plenty of definitions for healing and curing. Curing is what a physician seeks to offer you. Healing, simply put, is the undoing of evil. A feature of Amy's ordination 20 years ago was the ritual of laying on of hands. This is a way of sharing the creative energy of all those who helped her along the way. When asked if she wanted to sit or stand for that part of the ceremony, the new Reverend Amy Zucker, quickly slipped out of her shoes and said, standing barefoot, "I'm going to stand here connected to the earth." Happily for us at UUCPA, Amy became our minister 17 years ago. During our ministry, we have benefited continually from her wisdom, her dedication, and her healing powers. 20 years ago, the Reverend Amy Zucker's first official duty was to offer a prayer. Amy told me, "I love the tradition by which a new minister's first act is a blessing." Well, that very prayer will be offered by her as we extinguish our chalice this morning. And now here comes Amy and Mark.
I'm going to just say that to make it easier for our amazing volunteer crew, we recorded the next segment. So we could have Reverend Amy and I next to one another, and to just make it easier for the tech crew from switching. Part of that conversation involves you. And so what we're hoping for is that everybody will now turn on their video and put it into gallery view so you can see each other. And we're going and see others. And also, the hymn number I said in the recording was hymn number 90. It is not. It's hymn number 390 if you happen to have your hymns at home. So please get yourself in gallery mode and enjoy the next segment. Thank you, Brian, for a lovely reflection. Now, Amy, it's been 20 years since your ordination, 17 years here at UUCPA. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've learned in that time?
I wrote my senior paper in theological school on lay ministry, on a lot of what you're talking about today. And it was all about the value and illustration of how effective people's ministry to one another and the wider world can be in a Unitarian Universalist congregation. And as I came into professional ministry, I could tell that some of my senior colleagues thought I was being a little naive, and that years of experience leading churches would change my mind. So I'm here to report after 20 years that I have changed my mind. I did not put enough emphasis on the power of lay ministry and how central it is to everything that we do. And 17 years with you all at UUCPA, the folks here and many dear people who are now gone, taught me so much about that. Just seeing every day the way people here care for one another and mourn and celebrate together and change the world together and learn from each other and solve structural problems together and create new kinds of community for the times when they change, like now. Sure. All of that has just confirmed my original sense that this is a ministry of everybody, to everybody, by everybody. So I really just want to say thank you for the transformational ministry that the folks of UUCPA carry out all the time.
Thank you. That is really great to hear, and we love you here, and it's been great for me to, over the years, listen to your sermons. And you obviously, represent the church to the wider community, but you are not the only ministry of this church, as we've been talking about today. And so I wanted to take a few minutes to acknowledge all the people that are part of the ministry of UUCPA. And so when we originally planned this we were going to be in the congregation, we were going to have people stand. Today, I think what we're going to try is we're going to raise our hands when I acknowledge you. You raise your hand, and if you want to, you can put yourself in gallery view on Zoom, and you should be able to see everybody. And if you want and you're comfortable, turn on your video camera, and we'll try and just see how we can acknowledge each other as a shared ministry. So first, I want to acknowledge Reverend Dan and all of the people who participate in religious education, both children and adult religious education. So if you participate in that, why don't you raise your hand? Okay, and now if you are the staff of the church, making sure that we have clean facilities, making sure the rooms are reserved, and all of the things that come into that, please go ahead and raise your hand. And now if you volunteer at the church, if you are on the grounds committee, you're on the board, any of those places where we're coming together to make this church work. It's not just the staff, it's not just the ministers, it's all the people that come and do all the things that need to be done. Please raise your hand. And finally, if you are here and you are listening today, if you come to the church, you are part of our ministry to our community, to each other, and to the world. So please, everyone at this point, raise your hand.
What the hell's going on?
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this ministry and for bringing this church to the wider community. And now we're going to have Bruce lead us in hymn number 90, Gaudiamus Hodie.
All right. Hi, everybody. Not to take anything away from congratulating Amy on 20 years, but I have a little visual aid here that we're going to use instead for this hymn, which is intended to be around. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play the first theme, which is the only one you don't see up there, and then we're going to sing it together from the beginning. When we start through the second time, I encourage you, if you have more than one person with you at home, to choose any one of the 3 different parts that you want and sing them in any order that you want. They all fit together beautifully. So you can create your own mini round with the people that you're sharing the service with at home. Here we go. Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie,
As Brian said, I would be sharing the words of the first blessing that I gave as an ordained minister. And so here they are, and I find they're oddly relevant in a different way now that we are each in a separate and ordinary place. As we leave this hallowed place, may our feet remember its feel, so that wherever we go, we know ourselves to be on hallowed ground. May we know that we are kin with every soul, every star, every stone and leaf of grass. And may our words be gentle and our touch be kind. Blessed be. all make sure now that our audio and video are enabled so we can hear one another and see one another as we
Come on.
go out into the world
In peace.
of good courage.
Are you ready to kill the
Ask what is good and turn no one evil.
No one evil.
Turn the faint
Faint-hearted.
Help the suffering,
Help the
rejoice in beauty, with word and deed.
All beings.
Amen. Please stay for our chaotic coffee hour. Thank you to the beautiful people who provide the beautiful words and music today.